Word Made Flesh by Dr. George Washington Carey. This was published in 1920, y'all. Redemption, the ultimate goal of humanity. Taoism, man consisting of a trinity of spirit, mind, and body cometh forth from the eternal, and after putting off desire re-enters the glory of Tao. Brahmanism, man's inner self is one with the self of the universe, and to that universe and to that unity it must return in the fullness of time. Buddhism, man, fundamentally divine, is held in 3 words by desire. Purification from desire leads the man to nirvana. Hebrewism, man came into being through emanation from the will of the king, therefore is divine. Egyptian, teaches the divinity of man, Osiris as his source. Zoroastrianism, man is a spark of the universal flame to be ultimately united with its source. Orphic, man has in him potentially the sum of substance of the universe. Christian, man made in the image of God, body, soul, and spirit, a trinity. Now I wanted to point out this, even though I'm going to skip over this part here, that he is referencing that, so I'll read right here. It says science, Egyptology, Indo-Iranian, Chinese, Japanese, Persian, or Sanskrit, all forever strove to solve the riddle of the human body. 700 years BC, we have the Shu King, China's oldest book, the Shai King, 600 BC, the Yi King, 1143 BC. Then came Confucius, 55 through 478 BC. These writings, statements, philosophy, and symbols of these witnesses of the truth of being corroborates of our 66 witnesses in every detail. Focus on this part here. The writers of this book have in their possession a library of ancient scriptures referred to above, and know whereof they speak. Okay. So we're jumping down here on page 19. Journey of Joseph and Mary. The marvelous story of the journey of Joseph and Mary to Jerusalem to pay their taxes. Physiologically explained. On either side of the thalamus, in the head, is a gland, known in physiology as the pineal, on the posterior, and the pituitary on the anterior side of the thalamus. The pineal is cone-shaped and secretes a yellow or golden fluid. The pituitary body, opposite it, is ellipsoid in shape and contains a whitish secretion like milk. The fluids that are found in both these bodies come from the same source, namely the claustrum, which means barrier or cloister, and is referred to as cloister for the very good reason that a precious and holy thing is secreted or secluded there. Saint Claus or Santa Claus is another term for this precious fluid, which is indeed a holy gift in the body of each one of us. Let's repeat that one more time for all you people that really think you got the understanding of what Christmas or Santa Claus is about. The fluids that are found in both these bodies come from the same source, namely the claustrum, which means barrier or cloister, and is referred to as the cloister for a very good reason that a precious and holy thing is secreted and secluded there. Saint Claus or Santa Claus is another term for this precious fluid, which is indeed a holy gift in the body of each one of us. The precious fluid which flows down from the claustrum separates, part going into the pineal and part to the pituitary body, and these, being special laboratories of the head, and differentiate the fluid from the claustrum, and it takes on the colors above mentioned, and in the pineal gland becomes yellow and has electric properties.
And has electric properties.
The pituitary body, having the milk-like fluid, has magnetic properties. These two glands are the male and female, the Joseph and Mary of the physical body, and are the parents of the spiritual son born in the solar plexus of each human being commencing about the age of 12. This yellow and white material, which is the milk and honey referred to in the Bible, the children of Israel having been given the promise of a return to this land flowing with milk and honey, the last reaches the solar plexus via semilunar ganglia, the Bethlehem of the physical body. In Hebrew, Bethlehem means house, Beth, of bread, Lachem, I am the bread of life, said the allegorical Jesus. In the solar plexus is the thimble-shaped depression, a cave, or a manger. A what? A cave, or a manger. And in this is deposited the psychological or psychophysical seed, or holy child, born of this immaculate conception. Are you starting to perceive what's happening here? Are you starting to notice the parables and allegories? I've already spoken to y'all about this. How the allegories in the Bible, the synonyms, everything is all in parables. This psychophysical seed is also called fish, as it has the odor of fish and is formed in the midst of the waters, the pure water. Quote, Jesus is a fish in the midst of the waters, unquote, St. Augustine. Let's read that again. Quote, Jesus is a fish in the midst of the waters, unquote, St. Augustine. Are you starting to understand that what's been taught and preached to you is not real? Before birth, the human fetus floats like a fish in the fluids by which it is surrounded. And, as it is with the child formed on the generative plane, so it is with the spiritual child born in the solar plexus, the Bethlehem. Joseph and Mary, by furnishing the material for the spiritual child, which was to redeem the child or body formed in generation, paid the symbolical redemption money. Holy Ghost, Greek for breath. The breath, the the descending, the when the Nemo, the gastric nerve, the solar center, enters the manger where Joseph and Mary are, and where is Jesus, the seed, literally conceived by the Holy Ghost. Man, God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. There is an automatic procedure within the human body which, if not interfered with, will do away with sickness, trouble, sorrow, and death, as stated in the Bible. Truly, mankind, or the natural man, seeks many ways and means to prevent the upright, perfect, automatic way form, accomplishing that whereunto it was sent. Understand that. And if you ain't manifesting what you really here for, you don't understand. You ain't clear on that. Something's got you lost. The natural man forever seeks pleasurable sensation. You see what I mean? Which is an enmity with God. physical sensation, or the pleasures of sin for a season or limited duration, referred to by Paul, are under the law or below the solar plexus. Hence, he that is held by the Spirit is not under the law. He that is led by the Spirit is not under the law. The 21st letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Shin or Shin, lacks one of the complete alphabet Tav, the 22nd letter, meaning the cross. Herewith are given a few of the Greek and Hebrew characteristics that have been translated sin or falling short. Hebrew, Asham Het Chet Hata Havam, translated iniquity more than 200 times, means conceived in sin or brought forth in iniquity or sin. Bishar or Pasha. In Greek, we find this word written as harmastia, proanatorno, anamartetios, or tetos, anomia, anomos, parapaimo. Any act coming under the meaning of sin retards or prevents the automatic action of seed, which, if not interfered with, lifts up a portion, 1/10 of the life essence, oil or secretion that constantly flows down the spinal cord, a straight and narrow way, and transmutes it, thus increasing its power many-fold and perpetuating the body indefinitely, or until the ego desires to dissolve it by rates of motion set in action by its inherent will. Uh-oh. Why do you think they push sex so hard? You ever wonder that? Would you think it was just all about creating babies so that they can get more money out of everybody? But then at the same time, they're talking about depopulation, right? So, if you got to think about it. Why is it projected so much? Why is sex sold so much? You ever wonder that? We can read it again. Let's read it again. And I'm gonna let you interpret it how you interpret it. It's not my job to interpret anything for you all the way. I'll give you my take, you give me your take in the comments. We work it out together. That's the only way. For we all come from the great source. We all part of the great source. We just personalities. You ain't come to figure that out yet? Any act coming under the meaning of sin retards or prevents the automatic action of seed, which, if not interfered with, lifts up a portion of the life essence that constantly flows down the spinal cord and transmutes it, thus increasing its power many-fold and perpetuating the body indefinitely or until eager desires to dissolve it by rates of motion set in action by its inherent will. If the allegories of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, as well as Paul's epistles and Acts of the apostles, teach anything, they teach the mastery of transmutation of the human body by anyone who obeys the psychological guidebook, the whole book, the Holy Bible, man. But let the reader observe that each of the 66 books, as well as an almost countless number of ancient books of all races and language, teach the same mathematical and physiological facts. Man has turned the mighty power he possesses to every object and principle of force in the universe except himself, which is the greatest miracle of all. When man focuses his divine thinking lens upon himself, he will realize that he is an epitome of the ultimate cosmic energy. But they've dwindled you down in all of this science and education that makes you believe more in matter than the spirit. But spirit makes up more of all of the essence of the universe than matter. When you gonna figure that out? When are we going to figure this out all together? I mean, I see my people waking up all across the board right now. You know, I was talking to my significant other about it. And I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. There are people from every way of life waking up and talking about this, man. You got the most, I don't want to say most gangster, because that would, I'm just gonna say you got some real hood ass Mexicans out there, tattoos all over their face, talking about the universe and higher education, higher principles than any college can even give, yo. And that's truth. You know, one person may find way more value in the aspects of mathematics or the scientific biology of things, you know, while others are really into the aspects of the unknown, the metaphysical. You see what I'm saying? The spiritual, the essence of cosmic energy and universe, consciousness, personality, the spirit realm. I don't know if you notice, you can go to the realm right now. And we ain't talking about just meditation. You want to go see the realm? Let's talk DMT. Man has turned the mighty power he possesses to every object and principle of force in the universe except himself. Man, that's powerful, yo. Then the heavens will roll together as a scroll and reveal the real man as the Lamb of God that taketh away the sins of the world. And you want to know why all of these things are projected upon us to live sinful? Because they remain in control. If they dabble the minds into a dumbed down form, they can control, and therefore everyone is not equal. Everyone is not equal. Do you understand that? You keep them in a sinless, dumbed down nature, everyone is not equal. The dumbed down people must have a ruler, right? They must need a leader because they can't lead themselves, right? Like I'm telling you, this last whole pandemic episode was a test. And most people reaffirmed everything. The Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution, man. You think there ain't a group of individuals out there creating this to remain dominant? Remain in power? Has this not been played out several times before? You think it ain't happening now? Come on, man. Like, wake up. Like, what you talking about? It. The eternity of perfection. A child brought to its mother a piece of ice and asked, "What is this?" The mother answered, "It is ice." Again the child asked, "What is there in ice?" The mother answered, "There is water in ice." Ooh, we getting deep. 3 states of matter, right? 3 states of matter. Do you understand what I'm saying? A liquid, solid, and a gas? You understand that, right? Takes on 3 different forms, bro. It's already crazy enough to me that you bring about hydrogen and oxygen and it can make water, a liquid. I don't know, I'm still tripped out on that. I always will be. The child desired to find the water in the ice and it procured a hammer, pounded the piece of ice into little bits, and the warm air soon changed all the ice to water. The child was grievously disappointed, for the ice that the child supposed contained water had disappeared, and the child said, "Where is the ice that contained this water?" And so it came to pass that the mother was compelled by the child's persistent questions to say, "Ice is all water." There is no such thing as ice. That which we call ice is crystallized or frozen water. Hey, think deep. This is getting deep on you. The child understood. A student brought to his teacher some water and asked, "What is water? What does it contain?" The teacher answered, "Water contains oxygen and hydrogen," and then explained how the 2 gases might be separated to set it free by heat. The student boiled the water until all of the molecules of oxygen and hydrogen had been set free, but he was surprised to find that all of the water had disappeared. Then the student asked of the teacher, where was the water that held the gases that have escaped? Then was the teacher compelled by the student's persistent questions to answer, water itself is the product of oxygen and hydrogen. Water does not contain anything other than these gases. In reality, there is no such substances or fluid as water. That which we name water is the rate of motion set in operation by the union of the two parts of hydrogen with one part of oxygen, and of course, the phenomenon disappears when the union of gases is broken. The student understood. A devout scientist presented himself before God and said, Lord, what are these gases men call oxygen and hydrogen? The good Lord answered and said, they are molecules in the blood and body of the universe. Then spake the scientist, Lord, wilt thou tell me of the kind of molecules that compose thy blood and body? The Lord replied, these same molecules and gases or principles compose my blood and body, for I and the universe are one and the same. Once again the scientist said, my Lord, may I ask then, what is spirit and what is matter? And thus answered the Lord, as ice and water are one, and the gases and water are one, so is the spirit and matter one. The different phases and manifestations conceived by man in the molecules of my body, that is, the universe, are caused by the word. Thus, they are my thoughts clothed with form. Now the scientist felt bold, being redeemed from fear, and asked, is my blood then identical with thy blood in composition and divine essence? And the Lord said, yea, thou art one with the Father, Mother. The scientist now understood and said, now mine eyes are opened, and I perceive that when I eat, I partake of thy body, and when I drink of thy blood, and when I breathe of thy spirit. So-called matter is pure intelligence and nothing else, because there is not anything else. Pure intelligence cannot progress or become better. There is nothing but intelligence, omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience must mean intelligence. Therefore, these terms are all included in the word. Let us adopt a short word that will express all that the above written words are intended and express, namely the word it, I. Stand for all, the eternal I. T stands for the operation, manifestation, vibration, action, or motion. The I in motion is T, or crossification, the T cross. We say it rains, it is cold, it is all right. What do we mean by it? Who knows? Some say the weather, others natural phenomenon. Very well then, what do we mean by the weather or natural phenomenon? Why? Just it, of course. It does not progress. It does not need to. It forever manifests, operates, differentiates, and presents different aspects and viewpoints of its self. But these different phases are neither good, better, nor best, neither bad nor worse, simply different shades and the colorings of one and only intelligence. Every so-called thing, whether it be animal, vegetable, or mineral, molecule, or atom, ion, or electron, is the result of the one intelligence expressing itself in different rates of motion. Then one might say, what is spirit? Spirit means the breath or life. Spirit, that which is breathed into man, must be intelligence, or man would not be intelligent. not intelligent substance, which is, of course, unthinkable, would not breathe into anything, nor make it intelligence if it did. Therefore, we see that spirit, intelligence, and matter are one and the same essence in different rates of motion. So-called molecules, atoms, electrons know what to do. They know and how to cohere, unite, and operate to form a leaf or a flower. They know how to separate and disintegrate that same leaf or flower. These principles of omnipresent life build planets, suns, and systems. They hurl the comet on its way across the measureless deserts of stardust and emboss the burning path. From the materialistic and individual concept of life and its operations, it is pitiable and pathetic to view the wrecks along the shores of science. It is only when we view these apparently sad failures from the firm foothold of the unity of being and the operation of wisdom that we clearly see in these frictions and warring elements and temporary defeats and victories the chemical operation of eternal spirit operating with its own substance. It is very self. It is only through the fires of transmutation that we are enabled to see that all life is one eternal life, and therefore cannot be taken, injured, or destroyed. The fitful, varying, changing beliefs of man in the transition stage from the sleep and dreams of materialism to the realization of the oneness of spirit show forth in a babble of words and theories, a few of which I shall briefly consider, beginning with the yet popular belief in evolution. The evolutionary concept has its starting point in the idea A. That matter, so-called, is a something separate from mind, intelligence, or spirit. B. That this matter had a beginning. C. That it contains within itself the desire to progress or improve. And finally, that the race is progressing, becoming wiser, better, etc. Against this assumption, I submit the proposition that the universe, one verse, always existed without beginning or ending, and is and always has been absolutely perfect in all its varied manifestations and operations. A machine is no stronger than its weakest point or part. If the self-existing universe is weak or imperfect in any part, it must of necessity always have been so, having all the knowledge there is, being all. It is unthinkable that there is any imperfection anywhere. Everything we see, feel, or taste, or in any manner sense is perfect substance, condensed or manifested from perfect elements, but all different in their notes, vibrations, or modes, or rates of motion. A serpent is as perfect, therefore as good as a man. Without feet, it outruns a man. Without hands, it outclimbs the ape, and it has been a symbol of wisdom through all the ages. Man is an evil thing to the serpent's consciousness. Neither are evil nor good. They are different expressions or variations of the play of the infinite will. The brain of the jellyfish is composed of the same elements, of the same substance as the brain of a man, merely a different combination. Can man tell what the jellyfish is thinking, or why it moves and manifests its energy thus or so? How then is man wiser than the jellyfish because his thoughts are of a different nature and operate to different ends? Wisdom, all there is, simply operates, manifests, expresses, forms, or creates them of self-existing substance. As wisdom is without beginning or end, so are all its operations or manifestations without beginning or end. Modern man is now taking his first lessons in condensing or materializing air, while through uncumbered ages the spider has performed the miracle without the necessity of first attending a school of chemistry. The modus operandi by which the spider forms his web from air is the despair of science, the wisdom of art, or beaver strikes dumb all the believers in the Darwinian dream. The perfect cooperative commonwealth of the bees is still the unattained ideal of man. Beneath the soil upon which falls the shadow of the throne of Menelik, the Abyssinian king, are layers and strata of buried civilizations, and astronomers in China mapped the heavens, named the stars, calculated the eclipses, and the return of the comets ages before Moses led the Hebrews out of bondage, or the walls of Baalbek cast a shade for the Arab and his camel. The evidences and witnesses of the wisdom of men on earth hundreds of thousands of years ago confront the scientific investigator at every turn. Here the Rosetta Stone, and there the inscribed cylinder of Aryak, or statue of Judea, king of Chaldea. Prophecies inscribed on cuneiform tablets of clay foretelling the building of the pyramids are brought to light by the excavator, and the history of the Chinese people running back in links of an unbroken chain for 150,000 years forever refute the theory of the descent of man. Side by side with the ancient Asiatics who knew all that we today know dwelt the crystal in the cell, the jellyfish, the saurian, the ape, and the caveman. Side by side with the masons who could build arcs of stone in ancient Yucatan that mock at the ravages of time, lived and wrought the ant, operating in its cooperative commonwealth of which man can still only dream. Side by side with the caveman and cannibals dwells the spider, whose operation in aerial elements is the despair of chemical investigators. And when Solomon's gold-inspired temple illuminated the holy city, or the Tower of Babel grew towards the clouds, or the mound builders recovered their history in rock and soil, the eagle and the dove calmly floated in the air and wondered when men would evolve to the plane of science. They are wondering still. Exponents of the evolutionary theory never tire in quoting Professor Huxley. One who has not read the writings of this eminent scientist would be led to believe by the statements of his followers that he had positive views on the great question of force and matter. Following is an extract from the letter written by Professor Huxley to Charles Kingsley, underdated of May 22, 1863, taken from the published letters of Huxley by his son Leonard. Quote, I do not know whether matter is anything distinct from force. I don't know that atoms are anything but pure myths. Cogito ergo sum is to my mind a ridiculous piece of bad logic. All I can say at any time being cogito, the Latin form I hold to be preferable to the English I think, because the latter asserts the existence of an ego, about which the bundle of phenomena at present addressing who knows, you know nothing. I believe Hamilton, Mansell, and Herbert Spencer, so long as they are destructive, and laugh at their beards as soon as they try to spin their own cobwebs. Is this basis of ignorance broad enough for you? If you, theologian, can find as firm footing as I, man of science, do on this foundation of minus naught, there will be naught to fear for our ever diverging. For you see, I am quite as ready to admit your doctrine that souls secrete bodies, as I am opposite one that bodies secrete souls, simply because I deny the possibility of obtaining any evidence as to the truth or falsehood of either hypothesis. He can't distinguish either one. There's no way to prove it. There is no evidence that can sustain either way. My fundamental axiom of speculative philosophy is that materialism and spiritualism are opposite poles of the same absurdity. The absurdity of imagining that we knew anything about either spirit or matter. Unquote. Huxley admitted that he did not know. As the appetite craves new chemical combinations of food from day to day, so does mind crave new concepts of infinite life. The word infinite defines an endless differentiation of concept. If the spiritual consciousness, the mighty angel that the clairvoyant seer, John the Revelator, saw descending out of the heavens, shall carry away the pillars of material evolution, a temple of truth divinely fair will spring, phoenix-like to take its place. Phoenix-like to take its place. Symbolism is there for you to interpret new meanings, man. Don't make everything evil. Quit being fearful. It's time for you to enlighten yourself and elevate all. By you being fearful is allowing others to fail and not proceed into an elevated state of consciousness, awareness, and being. Manifesting all of their inherent will and power. Being an essence of the all and manifesting the all present within you. For you are a piece and part of the existing all. Eyes shall then be opened and ears unstopped. Man will then realize that the so-called lower forms of life are just as complex, wonderful, and difficult to form as the organism of man. And see right here, he talking about as above and so below. And I've spoken on this as myself so many times before. You look below us and everything operates on its own system. All of the cells, the proteins, blood vessels, the heart, organs, you ain't telling your body to do nothing. And if you're looking at it on the cellular form, then you bring it back up here, a micro and macro, cellular to now our organs. We'll take that organic aspect or the organs aspect within our bodies and then look at it, bring it again to another micro macro, which is mankind in itself, or communities or nations. Right? These are all self-sustaining organisms, right? Every functioning part has to, you see what I'm saying? So then look at it on the micro and the macro of the planets. You see what I'm saying? Now, each individual planet and star system is like a cell to something that's even bigger than that. There's levels to this, man. What don't you understand to that? It's very simple. Not only are there levels to it on the material level, but you even got a whole nother overlay of the dimensional aspect as well. Is it infinitude? The infinity of the universe, the all-expanding mind cannot understand or conceive the essence of God. So to put God or Lord, when people say the Lord, God said this, God said that, you can't even, are you conceiving the aspect that yes, man can be inspired by the Almighty? Yes, that's tapping into the source. But anybody can do that to this day right now. Like, it didn't just stop back then. Do you not? There's plenty of people that are doing this daily. They are contacting and going into the spirit realm like this is a thing. And studying. And this has been going on for thousands of years. Our ancestors right here. Us, man. So seeing how many people are on this planet and all that, and if you understand how many people are on this planet and then we reincarnate, you gotta think about where else we're going and reincarnating. Like, it's massive. There's way more to it. So if people could understand that, what then comes to change within the way that we operate our society? If we just eliminate the religion, worshiping an idol to go to the Most High, it's like we have to eliminate the false religion. Religion is the problem because they're not allowing you to understand everything that you are. It's like they make it at a simple form and they teach you in the parable aspect and then make the parables realistic. You see what I'm saying? Which it's just it's dumbing down the people. So if you dumb down the people, there will always be a leader. Like, I don't understand the aspect of a preacher sitting in a church preaching for 20 years, bro. Like, there's like, why isn't someone, like, wouldn't you think it would be more beneficial for everybody together to have to come up and speak, a different person have to come up and speak every week, as far as if you want to do it in that aspect, like as far as preaching? Because then what happens? You get a sound picture of everything, the whole community, not just one. You have a leader that controls the pack and keeps them into a certain mindset. But if you say, okay, I want everybody to think in your own terms, in your own way, and present, what does that do? That allows everybody to come together and say, hey, well, let's talk about this and let's talk about that. And oh my gosh, yes, you brought me in and you enlightened me. Yeah, there are going to be disagreements, but if there are disagreements, are you in control of yourself and your emotions, your animalistic state, I guess, as some would call, which I wouldn't even call, because everything is perfect and divine. So if it's an animalistic state, to me, that would just mean that it would be a lower class of education, if I really think about it. Animalistic in nature in relation to the way that you was taught or brought up, right? Like, if you're around something, you're going to imitate that. If you're around intellectuals, you're raised by intellectuals, you're going to be like that. If you're around people who don't want and don't seek education, or just haven't been even able to get the education, or was born into a society or place that didn't allow it to be brought about and knew no other way out. I get it. I understand. We have to feel for those people, because again, we are not over anybody. We all equal in all regards. And I know I'm ranting. I know I'm talking. They're probably like, read the book, bro. But I feel like a lot of this is just so important. And if I could connect with more individuals that would come on and come on, and say, hey, let's do a Zoom call together and have these conversations, to where we can feed off of each other, manifest off each other, build off each other, grow off each other. What does that do for our society? We know that, let's think of it like this. All power is inherent in the people, right? When it comes to the Bill of Rights, Constitution, at least here in America. So if all power is inherent in the people, and we know that, we know the aspect that when we try to do better and empower our people to bring about a more utopian state of society, there's always the leaders that get taken out, right? And I've come to think of it as, why don't we just quit having leaders and all come together and we all be leaders? Right? We no longer are subservient to a king or queen. We are all kings and queens, right? But yet we still allow the government, or not even, let's say the government, let's just say like small police powers, the corporations, right? Because I don't necessarily think it's always just the government. I think it starts with our communities. It starts at the very bottom. If our communities and cities are built upon a foundation of the understanding that the supreme law of God and common law, constitution, and everything overrides everything else, then everybody, it brings about an elevation of the mind state, which we were already there. It's like, Lucifer is this, Lucifer, the story of Lucifer that has been portrayed and brought out literally is the story of lost Atlantis. But if you think about it, that then falls into the alignment of the story of falling from higher wisdom into this state now that we're in, even in the aspect of spirit from matter, if you want to project it as that, because then again, all power is inherent in the will, right? And in the intent of the common collective. So if the common collective can come and change about reality, why are we not doing that? There's plenty of land that is pristine within just the United States alone that can be transformed and terraformed into something beautiful. We could terraform the land like they did ages ago into, where we have rivers and streams flowing through. And we then again show how to manifest, like, how we should do it, man. Just the aspects of how we build homes now. It's so stupid. Like, I talk to so many people, and they're like, it's completely dumb. I live in the Pacific Northwest, where we have 2.5 feet less than the Amazon rainforest, and they're just the aspect that the majority of the homes up here are built with wood just blows my mind. Like, I'm just like, what is wrong with you people? Like, that's an organic material that's going to rot. It's going to need extensive repair, yearly, annually repair. Like, why not just build with the earth? And then think about what building with the earth would do in relation to the price. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm to the point where I'm ready to build cities, where I'm ready to build school systems that are incorporated. We've just started up a school system, a curriculum aspect for homeschooling for parents, which is the All Wise Education Accelerator, the AWEA. AWEA. And, we've been working directly with this with our children, and it's amazing. It's amazing. My daughter right now is 5 years old, kindergarten, right? Well, I guess she's not in kindergarten. She would be related to at least what age-wise would be kindergarten. And my daughter can read, like full-fledged read. You want to read a book with my daughter? Let's do it. Let's go read. You see what I'm saying? So they talk about homeschooling, but you don't understand the aspects of what the mainstream education system has done. The Rockefellers got this famous quote where they speak about when they created kindergarten through the 12th grade, it was there to create obedient workers. It had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with elevating the state of humanity. You want to know why? Because just shortly before that, when all these wars started happening, man was at a very elevated state of not only wisdom, but science. I mean, we had airships and technologies of free energy and electric cars, and the government really got too powerful to where they shut down a lot. And everybody knows about Tesla. I wouldn't say everybody knows about, electric cars and the catalogs of electric cars in the early 1900s, late 1900s, or even the aspect that there were 4 million cars in Germany running off of, wood gas, the gasification of wood. Cars were running off of wood, guys. 4 million cars to be exact, in the early 20s. So what happened to that? You see what I'm saying? So there's just so much that goes into it. There's so much downplay. And I'm not a leader. I'm a facilitator of the Most High. You understand me? I know what I am. So knowing what I am, I allow the Spirit to work through me. I take the breath, and I know within the breath is that wisdom and intelligence that is the all. I know when I eat of the flesh of the plants that I ingest, that it gives all the ingredients and nutrients in which I need. But I know again that I am eating from all that is all, the I am. Now, being a personality or individualized aspect of this I don't even want to say materialistic state that I am in, because we know that all matter is moving. So what do I say about this body? Is it a vibration? A condensed vibration of energy? I mean, we just get so deep, right? These aspects, this just flowing off of the dome right now. You see the page ain't moved. I mean, the deeper aspects of all of it is something that we have to start moving towards big time. We need to start making drastic changes now in our communities. And if we can't see it manifesting because we know the people are too indoctrinated to change, then all it takes is for us to now create our own. I can tell you guys, there's plenty of farmers out there that are more than willing to make this work. They'll come with their equipment. They're already set, guys. They've been set in life. They've got generational wealth, man. They do it just to do it. It's a way of life for them. Now think if they was to come help us sustain initially a farm, acres upon acres, that can sustain a community initially of 5 to 10,000 people, because that's what's going to be needed for a full mastermind to come complete. And I'm not, and some of you may know, when I speak of mastermind, the confusion there is related to, it's been dwindled down, or again facilitated to the individual, which is always the case here within this society. That a mastermind is one who knows it all, right? Who knows everything. That's not what mastermind means, y'all. Mastermind was a term coined by Napoleon Hill. And a mastermind in his definition was a collective group of individuals that come together to make one mind. Do you understand the implication and power of that? See, well, this operational system of capitalism, this government is always in session. It's always enacting laws. It's always, you see what I'm saying? Why? Because they've dumbed down the people. They've dumbed down the people so badly that the people then depend on the government to enact new rules because of the problems in which they've brought on purpose, so that they can always again retain leadership. Instead of just from the beginning teaching the right way to live. I'm telling you guys, if there is a city and there's a society that teaches the right way to live and really truly appreciates and understands life, that city is going to be self-sustaining, yo. That community, that organism is going to be self-sustaining. You want to know why it's going to be self-sustaining? Because the higher morals and principles of understanding were placed to know in the first place. The wisdom being all intelligence. We just spoke about that. Or we just read about that, should I say. It's not always about understanding all of what, the ancient mystics wrote about or taught about, or the symbolic nature of all of that, where you get, like deep, like Seven Bowmore, which I love. I learned so much from him. But you don't even have to always get that deep. It's just speaking in layman terms as I am now, right? About the progress of what is needed. There's people out here that are ready to manifest this, man. It's just really time to pull together. You see what I'm saying? So I don't even think at this point, after doing that and speaking in that manner, is it proper for me to continuously read. I'm going to have to dive into this. We're going to have to continue on another part. But I hope me sharing some of my personal views, just speaking to you as though you are here with me, will allow you, whoever you are listening this, to reach out so that you can talk to me. You think I just like hearing myself? I'm talking for you. I'm letting the Spirit manifest through me to speak to you so that you can speak to me and we can all build together. I don't want a bunch of views and money off of everything. I just want to build a community, guys. It's time for us to build the community, guys. We can get some land and build the community, guys. There's plenty of architectures out here. That would love to benefit towards this. There's plenty of farmers out here, guys, that are ready to benefit towards this. There's plenty of teachers. There's plenty of every kind of person, that family that we need to incorporate. We just got to make sure that we're all functioning together. And that's it. It's not hard. There's plenty of unincorporated areas out there. If not, you can make your own micronation. You can make your own country here within the United States. It's been proven and done. It's not hard. We can do it, and we can show them how to do it. It ain't got to be all crazy and cult-like. It can just be living the right way. It's not hard. We already know the set of principles that have been put in place. We run off of that and go. God's law, common law. It's very simple, yo. We can do it. You know, I joined with a society a while back. This society was called Gemstone University, Pantera, right? And they taught me a lot of things in there, and I really do appreciate what they taught me. Especially Ken, man. I ain't got no ill words against Ken. But I know the aspect of there's always going to be somebody that wants power. They always going to want to have this ultimate aspect of I get to make the decisions. And that's got to be eliminated, yo. Everybody's got to be the leader. Everybody's got to be the king. But being a king doesn't mean you got to be prideful. And honestly, that pride will start to dissipate once you come into the understanding of the things that we've been reading here tonight. And we're going to go deeper. And when I mean deeper, I mean deep. You're going to understand all of the allegories of the Bible. Maybe not all of them, you know, I'm being a little bit. But you're going to know a good, vast amount of the allegories and what they mean. And while certain people have divvied up these meanings into smaller videos, which I'm not trying to do, I just felt as though I needed to let the inner soul essence speak to you freely. Not only to myself, but to you. I mean, I'm not, as much as I'm speaking to myself and allowing the spirit to flow through me, is as much, you know, I have to get it out to you. Because if I'm not benefiting no one but myself. And who am I to only think of myself? When I know that I am a part of all of you and you are all a part of me, and that every time I look into your eyes, I am looking into God. Because God is you. I love you all. I'm here for you. I am here for you. Tone Avi. Tone, the sound. Avi, the bird. I am here for you. Are you here for me? Can we be here for each other? These are the principles in which we gotta start speaking to everybody. You know people that got money out there, man. You know people that got money out there. I know people that got money out there. And I am speaking to those people in this type of manner. Believe me, I am. And we can make it happen. So now what we got to figure out is, are you ready to come and make this manifest? There's plenty of land that people got that they would donate. If you really think about it. They got land out there that they donate. 50, 60, 70, 100 acres. There's plenty of land out there. Ain't being utilized and ain't being used. And if not, can we gather the resources to make it happen? I think we can, and I know we can. I'm young. I know this next year my life has been coming for a reason. This next birthday is the year for me, and I know it. It's been the year in which I have been projected, the number which has been being seen all around me for the last 5 years, non-stop. The universe is speaking and working through me that this next year for me is the year of will and intent and manifestation. But I can't do it alone. I am a part of the all I am, but the all I am I must bring forth to bring about. But I'm not the leader. There's plenty of you that can give me wisdom just as much as I'm giving wisdom. Your experiences in life will teach people many things. Just as the experience was of the scientists who went to the Lord and asked the Lord what they eaten. Let's do this, yo. Let's keep it flowing. I love you.